Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Jo Glanville. I'm Director of English Pen, and it really is a very great honour to welcome the English Pen Salon's next guest, Hwang Sok-yong, who is one of Korea's most esteemed writers and who in his career has made an extraordinary journey from being political dissident to one of the country's most celebrated authors. He has made a stand against censorship. He's spoken up for freedom of expression. And in the 80s, he made an unauthorized trip to North Korea. And then when he returned after some years in exile, he was sentenced to 7 years in prison, and he served 5 years. In his career, he's taken on some of the big taboo subjects in Korea. That ranges from the Korean War to the Vietnam War. And just this week, his remarkable novel, Shadow of Arms, which is an extraordinary Korean eye view on the business of war and the corruption of war, is out now in English, and you will be able to buy it today. And I strongly urge that you read it along with his other novels, which are available in English, which include The Guest. So please join me in welcoming Hwang Sok-yong to the London Book Fair. And I'd also like to introduce Kyung-mi Lee, who is going to be interpreting for Hwang Sok-yong. So Hwang Sok-yong, I'd like to ask you first about some of the subjects that you take on in your novels. You've lived through some of the most tumultuous periods in Korea's history that range from the Korean War, when you were still a child, to the Vietnam War, in which you fought. And the subjects that you've taken on, some of them have been a great personal cost to you in terms of your challenge against censorship. And I want to ask, what's the motivation for you? Is part of the motivation to put the historical record straight? So I'm thinking, for example, of your book, The Guest, where you tell the story of this appalling atrocity that in North Korean mythology is portrayed as an American atrocity. And in your novel, you reveal that it was actually Koreans killing Koreans. So my question is, how much is the motivation to set the record straight for you?
네, 먼저 무기근을 먼저 말씀드리면요. 그때가 이제 1980년대였는데요. 지금 현재도 그렇지만 한국 전쟁의 본질에 대해서 아직 명확히 규명되지 않고 또 보는 각도에 따라서 다 다릅니다. 근데 그동안 한국 전쟁에 대해서 써왔던 많은 소설들이 반공주의의 그 한계를 벗어나지 못하고 있었어요. 거기까지.
So first of all, The Shadow of Arms was written in 1980, and even until now, the essence of the Korean War has not been clearly defined. And depending on what you see and depending on your perspective, people see the war very differently. And if you look at other novels that deal with the Korean War, it doesn't go outside the limits of anti-communism.
그래서 사실은 한국 전쟁을 잊혀진 전쟁이라고 하는 것은 그런 그 사실에 대한 말하자면 호도라고 그럴까요? 이렇게 가리는 그런 말이죠.
So some people say the Korean War is forgotten war, and what that means is that there's some sort of concealment of the truth about the war.
1980년대에는 박정희의 19년 군사 독재가 끝나고 그리고 나서 민주화되지 못하고 새로 신군부가 등장해서 다시 독재를 시작할 때입니다.
So the 1980s were the time when the 19th year of military dictatorship of President Park Chung-hee was ended. But then we didn't really see democratization of society. We had new military regime who was also doing the military dictatorship.
당시에 그 1980년대에 정부를 장악하고 있던 군부는 베트남 전쟁 당시의 지휘관들이었습니다.
And at that time in the 1980s, the military dictators were the commanders of the Vietnam War in Korea.
그래서 저는 사실은 한국 전쟁에 대한 소설을 쓰고 싶었는데 쓰지 못하니까 베트남 전쟁을 쓰게 된 거죠. 왜? 전쟁의 본질이 같으니까. 우리는 늘 이렇게 얘기합니다. 베트남 전쟁은 한국 전쟁이고 베트남 전쟁은 이라크 전쟁이다. 이렇게 얘기를 하죠.
And at that time, I wanted to write a novel about the Korean War, but I couldn't. I was not allowed to. So I had to write about the Vietnam War because the essence of the Korean War and the Vietnam War is eventually the same, essentially the same. So people say the Vietnam War is the Korean War and the Vietnam War is the Iraq War.
당시에 한 세 차례의 중단을 겪긴 했지만 다른 나라의 전쟁이 있기 때문에 검열을 피할 수가 있었죠.
And I was stopped 3 times to write this Vietnam War novel, but because it was talking about the war of other country, I was able to avoid the censorship.
그 다음에 이제 손님 얘기를 하겠는데요. 손님은 사실 북한 한국 전쟁 때 북쪽 지역에서 미군이 한국 양민을 수만 명을 학살했다 하는 그런 말하자면 그런 박물관이 북한에 있는데 사실 실제로 우리가 그 팩트를 자세히 들여다보면 남북 우리 북한 사람 남한 사람이 서로 죽이고 이렇게 했던 것이 진실이거든요. 사실이거든요. 그래서 이거를 그냥 참혹한 르포르타주식으로 쓰는 것보다는 이것을 새로운 형식에 담아서 예술적으로 그리면서 이 참혹한 참경을 예술적 어떤 말하자면 작품으로 이렇게 바꾸려고 했던 것입니다. 그 전에 생각했던 리얼리즘에 대한 생각이 바뀐 거죠. 그래서 오히려 손님은 그 팩트를 예술적인 양식을 통해서 전달을 하려는 거죠.
And let me talk about the guest. It talks about the atrocity on Korean people by the U.S. And actually in North Korea, there's a museum about that. But that's not the truth. The truth is actually Koreans killed each other. That's the whole truth. And what I wanted to do is instead of just reporting what happened, the atrocity, I wanted to create a new way, artistic way, to really show this the atrocity and wanted to really express it in an artistic way. And that's when I had my perspective of realism changed. And by writing the guest, I wanted to portray the fact, but in a very artistic form.
Yes.
You, Shadow of Arms, which you've just been talking about, which is about the Vietnam War, and you, as you've said, you wrote it in the 80s, and it feels a remarkably modern novel. It's a book that's very much about the black markets, this extraordinary black market that thrives in Vietnam, that depends on all the goods that are being brought into South Vietnam by the American army, and that everyone is profiting from. So it's a book that's very much about the business of war, literally the business, and the corruption of war that brings to mind, for many people in this country, Iraq, as you've already mentioned. But it's also a very, very angry book. And there are devastating scenes of atrocities committed by the Americans. And you've said that it's to an extent an allegory for the Korean War that you couldn't write about. But I'm wondering how much, when you wrote it, that very great anger that courses through the novel was a motivating factor for you.
예, 저는 베트남 전쟁에 참전을 했고요. 바로 여기에 나오는 주인공처럼 보병 병사를 거쳐서 전쟁을 한 6개월 했나요? 그리고 나서 나머지 1년 반 기간 동안, 나머지 1년 기간 동안을 시장 조사원으로 미군과 같이 말하자면 정보원 노릇을 했어요. 그래서 사복을 하고 시장에 들어가서 이렇게 잠입해서 해방전선과 북베트남 또 미군 측 또는 한국군 측이 서로 이렇게 교역하고 전쟁 물자를 팔아먹고 이렇게 하는 그런 그 뒷조사를 했기 때문에 전쟁의 성격을 정말 잘 알게 됐죠. 아, 이게 베트남 전쟁의 기본 본질이 이 시장에 있구나 하는 걸 발견했죠.
So I fought at the Vietnam War, and just like my protagonist in the novel, I was a foot soldier, and I fought the war for 6 months. And then afterward, about a year, I was an investigator of the market with the American Army, American soldiers, and I was some sort of an informant. So I was an undercover army soldier, and I would look around the market and see what's going on and how the American soldiers and Korean soldiers are selling and buying the products. And as I was doing this background investigation, I just realized, I saw the essence of the war, the nature of the war, and I realized that actually the market is the essence of the Vietnam War.
And I was just going to say that it also, for a Western reader, the book also feels very subversive, because our image of the Vietnam War is shaped by the American trauma of the Vietnam War. So it is quite a revelation to see it from such a perspective.
네, 가령 이를테면 베트남 전쟁에 관한 무수한 헐리우드 영화가 나왔고요. 또 베트남 전쟁을 다루는 한국분이 참전을 했기 때문에 많은 한국 소설들이 있었습니다. 근데 대개의 입장이 전쟁에 상처받은 휴머니티 그런 정도. 이 전쟁의 본질이 무엇인가 하는 건 다 은폐되고 개개인이 받는 전쟁에서 받은 상처 이런 것들로 대충 넘어가는 그런 식이었어요. 그래서 이거는 베트남 전쟁의 주체가 누구인가 했을 때 이거는 미군 병사나 한국군 병사 이런 사람들이 주체가 아니라 베트남 인민이 베트남 전쟁의 주체다 하는 그런 얘기를 소설에서 하고 싶었던 거죠.
So there are a lot of Hollywood movies that portray the Vietnam War, and also because Korean soldiers participate in the war, there are many Korean novels as well that deal with the Vietnam War. But the impression I got was that they don't really touch the essence of the war. They only talk about the humanity that was damaged, that was hurt by the war, the individual scar and the trauma. But the real truth about the war was concealed. And I was thinking about who's behind the war? Who's behind the war? It's not the soldiers of the American Army. It's not the soldiers of the Korean Army. It is the Liberation Army of the Vietnam. They are the real power behind the war. And I wanted to write that in my novel.
I wanted to ask you about your time in prison. That you were, after you visited North Korea, you then lived outside of Korea for a while in Germany, and also in America as well. You went back, you were given an extraordinarily long sentence, and my organisation, PEN, actually campaigned for your release at the time, and even, I think, visited you in prison. Did you expect that you would be given that kind of sentence when you returned to Korea? Was it a terrible shock?
글쎄요, 민주정부가 들어서서 저를 구출해 줄 줄 알았죠. 그런데 그렇게 오래 살 줄 알았으면 뉴욕에서 그냥 놀면서 지낼 걸 그랬어요.
I thought with the Democratic government taking office, I thought they were going to rescue me. But if I had known that I was going to be sentenced for that long, I would have just stayed in New York and just have fun.
And how did you survive those years? 5 years is a very, very long time.
예, 그래도 얻은 게 많습니다. 처음에 2년은 이제 제가 민주인사고 투사니까 맨날 헝거 스트라이크도 하고 또 뭐 학생들하고 뭐 구호도 외치고 그런 뭐 독방에 갇혀서 또 저 당하기도 하고 이제 이렇게 한 2년을 지냈는데 가만히 생각해 보니까 그러면서 책을 엄청나게 읽었어요. 그런데 가만히 생각해 보니까 감옥에서 있는 독서가 제대로 된 독서가 아니에요. 뭐냐하면 관념의 줄거리. 왜 독서라는 거는 작품도 마찬가지인데 작품 쓰는 것도 마찬가지인데 사람들하고 이렇게 만나면서 소통하면서 책을 읽어야 이게 들어와요. 근데 감옥 독방에서 책 보고 혼자 생각만 하니까 관념만 이렇게 관념의 기둥만 한 몇 개 이렇게 생기더라고요. 그래서 위기를 느꼈죠. 안 되겠다. 내가 이거 인생이 굉장히 중요한 부분인데 여기서 잘 살아내야겠다는 생각이 들어서 그 다음서부터 일반 크리미널 범죄자들 이런 일반 죄수들하고 운동 시간에 나가서 놀기 시작했어요. 친해지고 그러면서 건강도 좋아지고 책 다 버렸죠. 그래서 나머지 3년은 정말 잡범처럼 이렇게 지냈어요. 지내면서 저는 일상을 배웠습니다.
Well, I can say I actually gained a lot during that time. For the first 2 years, I was a freedom fighter, and I did a lot of hunger strike. I would do the protest with other students, and then as a punishment, I would get the solitary confinement, and I would suffer. But that's how I spent my 2 years. And at that time, I read a lot of books. But then I realized reading a book alone in a prison is not real reading. Because just like writing, you need to communicate with people, you need to interact with people, and that's how you gain a lot from reading. But if you just sit alone and read, it doesn't do much. And I felt a sense of crisis. So I realized this is my important life. I want to live a good life. So I realized I need to go out and hang out with people, interact with people. And that's when I started going out in a exercise time, hanging out with the criminals and play and have a good time. And I got healthy and I got happier. And that's how I spent the rest 3 years, just like other criminals. And that's when I learned how to live an everyday life.
How to live a
Everyday life.
An everyday life. That's
Normal
very
life.
interesting. It's actually the opposite of what we're trying to do at the moment. We've got a campaign here at the moment to get books into prisons.
지금 말씀하시는 내용이 좀 저희가 지금 하는 거랑 달리 저희는 감옥 수감자들에게 책을 많이 보내려는 운동을 하고 있거든요.
네.
Because the government here has made it very difficult for people to send books.
잠깐. 그때 당시에 아메리칸 펜에서 저를 강력하게 지원을 했는데 영국 팬클럽에서 영국 팬에서 한 달에 책 한 권씩을 저한테 보냈어요. 근데 제가 영어가 아주 my English is really poor. 그래서 이렇게 사전 찾아가면서 처음엔 좀 봤어요. 보다가 뭐 했는데도 불구하고 한 달에 한 번씩 5년 동안 보내니까 책이 지금 저희 집에 영문책이 이렇게 꽂혀 있는 건 그때 보낸 책입니다. 그래서 요 며칠 전에 팬클럽 멤버들 만나서 그때 책 보내줘서 내 영어가 이렇게 됐다. 이렇게
So,
얘기를 했죠.
I want to add something about that. Actually, English Pen did a lot of support, provided a lot of support when I was in prison, and they sent me a book a month for the 5 years. And at that time, my English was very poor. My English is still poor, and I had to look it up, a dictionary to find words, and that's how I read in the beginning. And then I have piles of English written books because of that. And when I had a meeting with the members of PEN recently, I told them that thanks to you, my English has gotten this much better.
I'm very glad to hear
네,
that.
그 말씀 주셔서 감사합니다.
I just want to ask you about North Korea, because obviously, as we've already discussed, you made a point of visiting North Korea, for which you paid with this terrible prison sentence. And recently, there's been this devastating report published by the United Nations that details the appalling atrocities and human rights abuse in North Korea. And you've written very critical. I mean, you've obviously criticized the regime in North Korea, but you've also been critical about the West and about the way that the West responds to North Korea, the hypocrisy that you see. And you've described the refugees of North Korea as the shadows of the neoliberal world. And I just wondered if you could explain your concerns about the way that the West responds to North Korea.
제일 먼저 북한 체제에 대해서 명확하게 밝히겠습니다. 북한 체제는 사회주의로 출발을 했고요. 처음에 굉장히 이상이 있었죠, 거기에. 그랬는데 미국하고 전쟁을 치르고 또 봉쇄되고 하는 기간을 통해서 북한 체제는 스트라이크 체제, 그러니까 농성 체제죠. 여러분 농성하면 쫙 앉아서 움직이지 않고 이렇게 그런 농성 체제로 변했습니다. 농성 체제를 유지하다 보니까 사회주의의 그 본래의 이상은 사라지고 군사 파시적 국가로 변질된 거예요. 현재 북한은 군사 파시즘의 요소를 갖고 있는 사회주의입니다.
So let me be clear about what the North Korean regime is. It started off with the ideology, the ideal of socialism. That's what it started off. But as it was fighting a war with the US and it was becoming a closed-off country, now the North Korean regime is a regime on a state of strike, a protest. And as they are maintaining that stage, the strike stage, they now lost the ideal of socialism. And now it's just fascism, the military fascism, that's all they have. So I can say that the essence of the North Korean regime is military fascism.
그러나 1990년대 전 세계 사회주의권이 붕괴한 다음에 그 10년 동안 북한은 대단한 고난을 겪었습니다. 큐바와 달리 북한은 굉장히 추운 지방이에요. 그래서 에너지가 굉장히 필요한데요. 또 그러니까 농사도 한 계절밖에 지을 수 없으니까 식량이 부족하고요. 그 기간 동안에 이건 유엔 연감에 나온 통계 자료인데요. 그 10년 동안에 북한이 300만이 굶어 죽었습니다.
But in the 1990s, the socialism, the communism collapsed all around the world. And from that point to the 10 years of period, North Korea suffered greatly. And unlike Cuba, North Korea is a very cold area. So you really need energy to survive. And you can only do farming for one season. So that's why they had famine. They couldn't produce enough food. And this is based on the statistics of the UN. And for that 10-year period, 3 million North Koreans starved to death.
아프리카식으로 몇 개월 동안에 수백만이 죽는 그런 굶주림은 아닙니다.
But it is quite different from the African famine, where within few months, millions people die.
그러나 배급량이 모자라니까 서서히 배급량이 모자라니까 영양 실조가 만성화되는 거죠.
But what happened is because the portion of rationing is grows gradually, so there's a malnutrition issue and people are suffering from chronic malnutrition.
그러면 어떻게 되느냐? 영양 실조가 오면 그다음에 면역성이 떨어지죠. 면역성이 떨어지니까 제일 약한 어린이와 노인들이 같은 기간에 한꺼번에 죽어갑니다. 그게 우리가 추산하는 300만이라는 거죠.
So what happened is when you're malnourished, your immune system gets weakened. So what happened is those people with weak immune system, children and elderly, they are dying altogether very suddenly, and that's probably what the 3 million people who are dead were.
그런데 비해서 남한 자본주의는 눈부시게 발전했지 않습니까? 바로 지척입니다. 저희 집에서 북한 대미제 라인까지 20분이면 갑니다.
But what happened in South Korea? The capitalism of South Korea improved and developed so greatly, and it's just very close. In my house to DMZ, it only takes 20 minutes.
당시에 한국은 현재도 마찬가지지만 10조 원에서 15조 원, 1년에 음식 쓰레기가 10조 원에서 15조 원에 육박하는 음식 쓰레기가 나옵니다.
And in South Korea, every year, 10 trillion or 15 trillion worth of food garbage is produced in South Korea.
이 15조 원이면 북한 인민을 5년 동안 먹여 살릴 수 있어요.
And this 10 million won worth of food garbage, that much food, can feed North Korean people for 5 years.
그동안 육자 회담을 하면서 수십 년 동안 협상하면서 한국을 둘러싼 코리아를 둘러싼 강대국들은 북한의 인권을 얘기하는데요. 굉장히 추상적이고 위선적인 얘기입니다. 지금 현재 사람이 죽어가는데 인권을 얘기하고 있습니다. 그런 상황을 만든 것은 우리가 인권으로 볼 때 미국이라든가 또는 한국을 둘러싼 강대국에 굉장히 큰 책임이 있는 거죠.
But in the six-party talks and any negotiations that have been going on for the last few years with North Korea, many countries are involved, South Korea, the US, and many other countries, when they are talking about North Korean human rights issues, they are quite hypocritic and they are only abstract. They don't really touch the details and the real truth. And people are dying there. But when they're talking about human rights, they don't really recognize that actually they are the one who are responsible for creating that environment where North Koreans are dying.
Thank you. I'd like to give you a chance to ask Hwang Sok-yong a question. Is there anyone who would like to ask a question?
Thank you for coming to inform us. What, in your opinion, would be the key thing that would make the difference?
글쎄요, 저는 다른 나라에 대해서는 잘 모르겠지만 제가 영국에 2년 살았었거든요. 그러면서 발견한 것은 현대사의 세계 도처에서 비극이 벌어지고 있다 하는 사실이었습니다. 저는 깜짝 놀랐습니다. 영국이 대영 제국인데 말이죠. 거기까지.
네. I don't know about other countries' situation, but I actually I lived in the UK for 2 years in the past. And as I was living in other countries, including the UK, I saw many different types of tragedies all around the world. And it was shocking to me because for me, the UK is the Great Britain, the great nation.
7, 80년대에 영국이 받은 고통, 영국 인민들이 받은 고통하고 저희들이 근대화 기간에 받은 고통은 많은 차이가 있겠지만 본질은 똑같습니다.
And the sufferings of the people of the UK in the 1970s and 80s, and the sufferings of Koreans in the modern modernization process, they are different in terms of forms, but the essence is essentially the same.
저희 집안 얘기를 좀 하자면 가장 코앞에 닥친 일이 이제 한국 자본주의를 이제 돈도 많이 벌고 그랬으니까 좀 돈을 좀 띄어서 가난한 사람들, 못 사는 사람들 이렇게 복지를 좀 만들자 하는 것이 제일 첫 번째 말하자면 민주주의 원칙이었고요. 두 번째가 재벌을 중심으로 한 자본이 너무 집중돼 있으니까 이걸 경제 민주화를 통해서 분배를 좀 하도록 하자 하는 것이 아마 지난번 선거 때 이슈였을 것 같아요. 저는 현 정부가 그렇게 실천하기를 강력하게 바라고 있습니다.
And now let me talk about our own country. Korea made a lot of money through the capitalism, and I think it is time for us to spend that money for poor people, the people who didn't, the have-nots, and for the welfare of those people. And that's the principle of democracy. That's the first thing we can do. The second is in Korea, the capital is so concentrated on the chaebol, which is the large conglomerates. And I think we need to implement the economic democratization at this point, and I think that was actually a big issue of the election in Korea, and that redistribution of capital, of wealth. I hope that the current administration will do something about it.
I think we'll have time for one more question if anyone would like to ask. Yes, just there.
When you were in North Korea in 1989,
네.
did you see any evidence
북한에
of
있을-
independent writing, or indeed can you comment on that today? Thank you.
그뿐만이 아니고 저는 북한에 친구 작가들을 많이 만들었습니다. 그래서 속에 있는 얘기까지 많이 했는데요. 여기서 공개할 수는 없습니다. 그러나 그러나 그들도 자유로운 집필을 원하고 있고 창조적인 말하자면 예술 환경 속에서 활동하기를 아주 열망하고 있습니다. 거기까지만 얘기하겠습니다.
Well, not only that, I did actually make a lot of friends, North Korean writers, when I was living in North Korea, and with them I had a very deep conversations. Of course, I can't reveal what we talked about, but I can say that there are many North Koreans who really want to write freely, want to have freedom of expression in their writing, and they really want to have this environment where their creativity and their art can be flourished, and they have that strong desire.
Thank you. I'm afraid we have to end the conversation there.
네,
It's been
시간이
a great
부족해서.
pleasure and a privilege, Hwan Sok-young. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kyung-mi Lee. And you can buy copies of Hwan Sok-young's books, and he will sign. We have to finish there, I'm afraid. But you can carry on the conversation if you go and buy one of Hwan Sok-young's books
네,
and ask him to
책을
sign them for you
사서
at the Foyles bookshop at the back. But please join me in thanking him.
Thank you.